Good morning. Man, this is a tough one. The live stream the day of the time change is a tough one. I mean, I am so confused. I mean, it's bad. I have managed to make it on time though to the live stream. Now, some of the things that may have jumped in my way. Number one, at 8:59, I thought it'd be a good idea to mess with my microphone. I thought it'd be a good idea to change the. I want to get it a little bit louder. I talk at a loud voice now, but I don't. I would like to be able to talk at a lower voice, and you still have the ability to hear me just fine. So there's that, and then that was at 8:59. Now, if you know me, and as I've said, I typically have really good ideas at the wrong time. Like that idea to fix the microphone is a good idea. It's just not the right time. You don't try to fix a microphone 1 minute before you go on. That's bad. I mean, that always leads to just disaster. So I caught myself, but then at 8:59, after that thought was thoroughly extinguished, I pressed the button to go live, and I missed the banner that I need to click, and so I ended up almost starting a new live stream. Now I've always wondered how did that happen? I've done it twice in my career where I've started a new live stream instead of the one that I'd scheduled. Well, it's because I miss. It's clearly because I missed the banner because the button is different. It says schedule instead of like go live. So I overcame two obstacles just to start the program. Now, I'm dragging today. I'm dragging, and I'm not happy about it. I've already had to be in touch with a client about some stuff, some paperwork, which is brilliant on their part for even be able to respond to me. I don't know if you can see my eyes. There's see the bags? I call those bags. I don't know what you are. I mean, those are not normally that bad. I'm a mess. I will get better, I guess, during the day. They say that during daylight savings times, there's more car accidents. There's more. It's terrible. We read about it, I don't know, a week ago. But I hate it. I hate it. I'm not happy. I'm going to be surly today. One thing, though, I would say that I think is pretty cool compared to when I was growing up is that our phones and our computers and most everything electronic now will just go ahead and automatically change for daylight savings time. My car is not going to change. It's backwards. I don't understand that. And excuse me. So that makes it a little easier. I mean, it also makes it kind of funny because I was walking through the kitchen and all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I just got up an hour too early to do my live stream, when it was like, no, your live stream's at the same time. They've just changed times for the daylight savings time. So I don't even remember. I'm really not joking. Are we coming an hour early so that we can have more light during the morning, or is it more light during the day? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to really, I mean, I could find out, but I don't care that much. I feel like we have a strong show, and I feel like I should get going. I mean, I'm 3 minutes in, 4 minutes in now. I feel like it's time to really just, I mean, we're going to have a good show. We've got a Google trending search that I feel like I have some ability to talk about. We have showing reports. We have an exciting bit of news. We have articles. We have listings. We're going to Reno today on the listings, luxury listings. Ooh. So let's just get into it. We're going to do the showing report first. And look, if I run out of things to talk about, it is what it is. We can, I'm sorry. I hit my amount for my computer or for my monitor is terrible. It's the base for the monitor, but if you do this, I mean, it just goes back and forth. My desk is pretty solid. The camera doesn't shake, but whenever I see the monitor shake, I think that the camera's shaking, and I don't want anybody to get sick. And so I don't do anything now. let's get to it. Showed houses yesterday. Showed houses the day before. I'm going to show houses today. Lots of showing of houses. Today kind of got screwed up. And it looks like I'm going to show houses tomorrow. But anyway, let's get into showings yesterday. Yesterday we went to Webster Groves to start our showings. Now, if you're from St. Louis, you know that Webster Groves is a place in the south part of the what I would call St. Louis County, south part of the city. It's its own little area. It's cute. All the houses are cool. And if they're not, they just tear them down and build another one. It's kind of like Kirkwood, but a little bit more artsy, I would say. This is my opinion. I don't live in Webster. Okay. So the first house we went to, some fascinating things about it. Number one, it's kind of tucked away in this spot that I don't know how to say it. It's like it's hidden. Like unless you're looking for it, you're not going to get there. So that's cool, right? Not a lot of traffic. Then the pictures themselves looked really nice. Really nice. Almost too nice. It feels like whenever pictures look really nice online, that you're going to have problems when you go to listing. I don't know why. I feel like it's because they're working very hard to overcome what you're going to see at the house. And so they're trying very hard to deceive you. So when you go to the house, it's almost always a letdown because it's not the house that you see in the pictures. And this is one of those places. This is one of those houses where, you know, it looked gorgeous from the pictures. And then when you went to it, it was like, oh, hell no. Hell no. So one of the things in the pictures that I thought was fascinating was there was a brand new gravel driveway to the left of the house in the pictures. That's nice. But I thought to myself, why would anyone put in a new driveway of gravel? That seems strange. Like, that's a lot of money. So the first thing when we get there is that driveway of gravel, a normal sized car can barely fit. I mean, you're going to have a tough time getting through there. So that wasn't very helpful. We get up to the house. The key is the old key, which is fine. So we get in, and then the first floor is totally remodeled. And it's staged, and the staging is well done. Well done. I have no issue with the staging. To the right was like a living room area. Then the next room was like a dining room. And then when you're going to the left, so it's like a circle, you're in the kitchen. And the kitchen was redone, and it was beautiful. It had soft closed cabinets. I think granite countertops. I don't think it was quartz. I'm really, really into the quartz countertops. I don't particularly like the granite look. Don't at me. I'm just telling you what I think. You're welcome to do whatever you'd like. So we have that, and then off of that, there's a bathroom, which the bathroom's not. And as long as the bathroom doesn't open into the kitchen, I'm okay. I just can't stand when the bathroom opens into the kitchen. I just find that to be just, ugh. So then there's a little like Three Seasons room behind that, where they left the door that had the old ringer, which is kind of cool. And that's about it. Yeah. What I wanted to say is this. Based on the first floor alone, 80% of the people that were inclined to buy that house, oh no, I'll go even higher. 90% of the people that were inclined to buy that house would have bought it based on the first floor. Now, this is where things get dicey. There's other floors. And that almost always ends up being problematic. So like you have a choice. You go upstairs, you go to the basement. I always go to the basement for one reason. That is normally the basement is the thing that throws people out. Now, if you're in Texas, if you're in a place where there are no basements, you're like, what do you mean? Well, basements in St. Louis can be just a disaster. We have basements. We didn't really come up with a unified way to build basements, like what construction materials to use. So you will see basements built of rock, limestone. You will see basements built of cinder blocks, and you will see basements with poured concrete. That's the three that you normally see. And then, depending on when the house was built and who lived in it, you'll have things like slurry on the wall so that you can't tell what the thing is, or you'll have it so that it made the wall smoother. Well, there's all kinds of different things that people do. Now, when you have a limestone wall, or what I would call limestone, you're going to get like what I would call, they call it fluorescence. And it's like, it's not a mold, it's a mineral, but it like pops off of the rock. And then you have to really just douse your walls in white paint once every, I'd say, 5 years. And then you also need to be running a dehumidifier at all times. That keeps the mold from growing. I say mold from growing. I'm not talking about the fluorescence, which is not considered a mold, to my knowledge. So you have that. Then you have your cinder blocks. Well, the cinder blocks, you'd think, well, that's a step up. Well, it's really not, because they honestly just crack along the mortar lines. That's where the water comes through on those. And then your typical poured basement. Poured basements, I think, are great. Poured concrete. The problem is, if it's a new construction, those guys want to get done. Okay, so they're pouring one a day, and they're building on top of it like the next day. And I think you're supposed to wait 27 to 30 days for the concrete to cure before you start building. But that takes time, and it's easier just to start building. And so what you'll get is a lot of cracks. Now, they won't be the type of cracks that are really bad. They'll just be annoying cracks that you end up having to get epoxied, which costs about $600 per crack. So anyway, I don't know why I just went over that with you, but for the basement here, it was cinder block painted white, and the gray floor. This is very, very traditional. It wasn't a finished basement. It's kind of a downer, not gonna lie, like a finished basement. So then it did have a walkout, but there was no way we were building a room down there. The height wasn't high enough. So then onto the, and there were no outlets. There were no outlets in the entire basement, except for at the panel where it was required by code. And you say, are you really not going to buy a house because there's no outlets? No, I'm saying, look, the value of the home is determined by its features. It did not have the features of, electric sockets in the basement. Furthermore, if you do want to put electric sockets in the basement in St. Louis, they have to be in conduit. You're not allowed to run Romex on, unless you frame the walls, and then that's a different issue. So that was that. Now let's go to the upstairs, which is where things fell apart. The carpet up to the upstairs is the Home Depot carpet. It's brown, and you buy that for every single house. It's new. And so we're going up the steps, no problem, right? No problem. Then we get to the second floor, and there's a hump of at least, I'd say, 12 inches, about 4 feet away from the steps. And you think, well, that's not a big deal, right? Well, that's kind of weird. Kind of weird. What's this about? So we go in the first room on the left, and it's not staged. Actually, the first room on the left is a bathroom. Bathroom's fine. Second room we go in, it's not staged. One of the only rooms that's not staged in the house. When you are in the room, the door frame is bending towards the hump. That's not good. It makes it hard for doors to close when you've got a huge thing there. Then the next room is made into be like a baby in a playroom. And it's fine. Rooms are small. Rooms are small. I mean, they're calling this a 1,500 square foot house on 2 floors. So 15 divided by 2 is like 750. So 750 square feet on the first floor, 750 square feet on the second floor. Not a very big house. Anyway, so then we go into the next room, which is the main master bedroom. There's no, I mean, it's an old house. There's no en suite. And my buyers really want an en suite. For those of you who don't know what an en suite is, it's a bathroom off of the main bedroom. You asked, or you didn't. I don't know. I check the chat often, but I don't see anybody that comes in to hang. So then we, when we were in that room, that hump was causing serious issues. I mean, it was. I mean, you walk in the room and you start like literally falling down towards the one side of the room. And so my buyers, we were getting ready to leave, and my buyer stood in the wrong spot going down the stairs and almost fell down the stairs because it was pushing him down the steps. I actually grabbed him as I saw him falling, and I managed to catch him. Now, am I a great person? No, it was a delayed, awkward grab because I just didn't want him to fall, and he was not. He's probably going to be okay. Like, it'd been fine, but it was scary. Now, you tell me why I should spend more than $400,000 for a house that has a floor like that. I don't care how pretty it is. That's stupid. To buy a house with that hump is stupid. Now, I know why. I know who's going to buy the house. You want me to tell you who's going to buy the house? Yeah, I do. A young couple is going to buy the house with an agent that's you're not allowed to say that. With an agent that's not smart. It's going to be an agent where they're as dumb as the people that buy the house. Okay, and they're going to say, oh, it's just a hump. It's no big deal. The people that buy the house are going to do this. They're going to be the type of people that image is very important to them. Okay, and so they'll say they'll what you see. They'll drive a BMW, or it won't be a hybrid. Like it'll be a BMW, or it'll be like a hybrid, but it'll be like a Tesla. It won't be like right now. I'm rocking a Sonic. No, I'm rocking a Hyundai something that my dad owns, and it's a hybrid, but like you don't even know it. So that's not going to work because you have to signal your allegiance. But that'll be the person, and then they will always have, when they have people over, they'll be like, hey, come over, and you'll never be invited to the second floor. And you'll never be invited to the basement, which is totally cool because how many people, hey, you want to see my basement? You'll only be allowed on the first floor. And it's going to be cramped because it's only 700 square feet. And you'll talk about, laptop class problems. And you'll be like, the people that live there are going to be like middle managers, but not even really middle manager. They'll be like on their first job. That's who buys that house. So, my buyers are not those people. My buyers are confident in who they are. My buyers have enough money that they can buy whatever house they want to, for the most part. They don't care about images as much as they care about features. And so this was not the house for them. And, they feel bad. They looked at a house and they're like, John, this is stupid. But there was no disclosure about a hump in the second floor. There's no disclosure about that. Now you're going to say to me in an argument, you're going to say, John, it's just an old house. It's charming. They bought that house. Somebody bought it to flip it. Okay. And the number that's in there, they should have fixed the floor. Okay. They should have fixed the floor. In my opinion. Next house, Webster Groves. We were heavy on Webster Groves. This particular house, I knew we were going to have problems. And right now, as of 9:20 Central Time, I still don't know if we're going to write an offer or not. There are some charming things about Webster. I don't know how to explain it. But anyway, the this particular house, I knew there was going to be problems. One, how do I put it? People are really attracted to the blown out HDR effect. I don't know why. I think it's stupid. I hate it. This house had the blown out HDR effect, so you can barely see the house. You just see the light coming through the windows. It's kind of creepy. But anyway, so you can't really see it. It's not a good picture of the front, which draws attention. Second, it's in Webster. Third, the price is pretty high. Fourth, it takes really good pictures. And that's going to be key going forward. So the house was originally scheduled to be put an offer in by Sunday, no by Monday. Due to the overwhelming desire to see the house, they moved it to Monday. Offers due on Monday. Decision on Tuesday. All right, now let me tell you what that means for buyers. Okay. Let's say there's 3 houses that you go look at and you like all 3 of them. You could put an offer in on all 3, but you're trying to put in offers that you can win. Okay. And so if you won all 3 houses, you'd have to back out of at least 2 of them, which is not good. Not good at all. So I would say 70% to 80% of all buyers, 85% of all buyers are stuck with one offer each weekend, one offer at a time. So in this case, I think it's a net negative, because this particular house, we know that there's a lot of interest because they moved the deadline. Okay. When I went to schedule the showings, they don't mind overlapping appointments. So when we got there, it's literally like 7 groups of people. And so it's just chaos. You're walking through the house and there's people everywhere, and there's always a kid that's running around. And I mean, I don't care. I mean, I'm okay with the kids, but it's like, could you just stay with your family? Would that be okay? There's like all these strangers in the house. I mean, nobody's really particularly happy to be in this situation. But we go in the house, and there's people coming in, there's people coming out. We go in the house. It's not an open house. The open house is today. There's going to be 1,000 people there, and with the age of the Rona, which I don't particularly care about, I just don't like to be with a bunch of people ever. I'm not that guy. I guess I pick up on, I it's just hard. It's hard to focus, I guess, is what I would say. So we go to the right. First room is a nice room. Nothing special about it. The second room is the kitchen. Needs work. I'm not going to lie, it needs work. Then we go to the basement because there's people on the other side of the house, and we're trying to be kind of respectful of everybody's space. So we go downstairs. Downstairs, first room is a utility room. There's a bathroom. Then there's a storage area. Furnace and water heater is newer. Furnace is older. We go to there's one room with a fireplace in the basement, and it's okay, but by the time you got there from the stairs, it's kind of way over there, so that's no good. So we go back upstairs, and there's a room that was like that used to be a porch, clearly, and now it's like more than a 3-season room. It's got real nice like sliding doors. Maybe 2. I don't know how it was set up, but there's only one, but the whole wall was windows, which is better than, of course, and they were the good kind of windows. It's obviously better than the aluminum storm windows for a 3-season room. And then they also had heating and cooling in the room. Really cool tile floor. It's like a wood look. Anyway, so then we went into the next room, and that was the bedroom on the first floor, which is cool. Like, Bedroom on the first floor would be really nice. Go to a bathroom. The bathroom had been remodeled. It wasn't like a really nice bathroom, but it was okay. Then there was an office, and then there was the great room. Okay. There's 2 bedrooms and a bathroom upstairs. Both bedrooms were kind of small. Both bedrooms, no closets that were that decent. And the bathroom was from 1950, and it was perfect. It had never been touched. The yard out back, there was a garage. There was no fence, and people get upset about fences in Webster. People also get upset about trees, cutting them down in Webster, which I don't really, I mean, if there's a tree in my way, it's down. I don't care what people think. So, I don't care about what the neighbors think. Now, I do care about living in an area where I feel comfortable with my neighbors. However, it's not easy to find that space. In fact, I know one lady right now who lives in a part of town that's very hoity-toity. She's not a very hoity-toity person, doesn't want to deal with this, wants out, wants to be somewhere where people aren't so hoity-toity. Hard to find in St. Louis. People are very, very, I don't know. I feel like there's a delineation of classes that's pretty evident in St. Louis. Take that however you'd like. I don't think that's a slight as much as it's an observation based on my lived experience. So, are they going to put an offer on the house? Is the price right? I don't know. I know there's going to be 30 offers, and I know that whoever does buy the house is, going to pay a lot of money for it, way over asking. And my thing is this. Let's just be honest. Let's do a little comparison here. If you could buy a house for $400,000, let's just say there's 2 houses. I don't know how to do it. How do I do this comparison? Let's do a number. Let's say 500,000. Okay. You go to a house for 500,000, and it's not going to sell for 500,000. You don't know what it's going to sell for, but you think it's going to be north of 550. Okay. And there's another house and it's for sale for 550. Which house do you choose? Well, it's based on it's based on 2 things. One, do you think that the house that gets bid up past 550 is actually worth more, or do you think it's just more of a competition between people that are just trying to win? Number 2, is the house that's listed at 550, does it have features? Does it have things that the $500,000 house doesn't? So that if you did have to go up on your offer on the 550 house, would that make more sense? But you may not have been looking at it because your limit may have been 500. You see what I'm saying? We're in a very, very odd place where people are buying houses that are of less quality than houses they could be buying at higher prices because they're not thinking things through and realizing that if they just went up more in their original search, they would find most likely something that would fit their needs. But they don't, because we're still kind of anchored to this price. We're still kind of anchored to an asking price. Even though in this market, the asking price is really just, it is the basis for negotiations, but it doesn't really mean anything. Hopefully that changes. And I say that with all due respect to everyone involved. One of the things I was thinking of last night I don't remember why I was thinking this, but in some ways, a strong seller market is nice for this simple reason. As a real estate agent on the buyer side, okay, during a slow market, I'm beating the sellers over the head. I mean, I'm asking for pricing concessions. I'm asking for inspection concessions. I'm asking for all kinds of concessions. And I don't my own personal, I don't want to do that. I'm forced to because I'm in that space and I'm working for my client, and they may want it, but I myself don't like it. I find it unseemly. Like, I'm not interested in arguing over a light switch. And I don't care if the house is $100,000 or $1 million. I do not like the sales process for the buyer in a slow market. I think it's ridiculous. So in this market, a strong seller's market, sellers are telling buyers to go pound sand. You want to come at me with an inspection that says that, you know, there's something wrong with my electric? You know what? There's 17 other people that will buy the house. Okay. Now you say, well, that's not fair for the sellers or for the buyers. You know what? It hasn't been fair for the sellers in, I don't know, ever since the foreclosure thing. Now you say, well, the buyer should have a right to an inspection. Yes. And I still try to write in a right to an inspection. I just write it in such a way that says, look, if here's the way this is the way I think it should be. This is not the way that it is, but I try to make it. I try to make it so through my work. Let's just try this, okay? Say you go buy a house and the asking price is $450,000, and you pay $450,000. You agree to pay $450,000, and then during the inspection process, you find something so terrible in the house that it's going to cost $25,000 to $30,000 to fix. To me, the response is, look, this is bad. Can we work together to find a solution? Because honestly, I was buying this house under the impression that it was worth $450,000 with no issues. To me, this is totally reasonable. The scenario I just sent to you. Okay. What is not totally reasonable is we buy this house for $450,000. I find an inspector that's a complete ass, and they go and they scrape and they find everything possible wrong with the house. They find a 70-page report wrong with the house. You know, a nail is popped in the drywall, and then you ask for concessions, hoping that no one notices that you've got 69 pages of bullshit. That's what people do, and that's what's so annoying. Or they paid, like, say in St. Louis, I think I can get an inspection done for the most part for less than $500. 500 or 600 is about where I need to be. Well, let's say that these people paid like $2,000 for inspections. Well, that inspector, you're going to get more things wrong because that's how they're justifying their fee. Okay. It was never designed for that. None of this was. What I'm telling you, what I prefer is the way it should be. So this is ridiculous. So instantly with this strong seller's market, it avoids this bullshit. If you're coming at a house and you're the high offer, and you try to go, and there's like 60 offers, and you try to go, like 10, and you try to go with, oh, the light switch is broken, oh, the light bulb is burnt out, I want $10,000 off the house, they'll just tell you to go pound sand, which is the way it should be in any market. It was never designed for this abuse. So that's one thing I do like about the seller's market, because I've been on both sides. You know, I do both. And I'm telling you, as a seller, you know, you have very little interest in all the bullshit from the buyers. And on the buyer side, you're just always of this mindset, like, how can I extract more from the seller? It's not a good thing. This is from somebody who I'm telling you, I don't even like to make offers at full ask ever. But I mean, I'm adapting to the market that I'm in on the buyer side. And so anyway, let's talk about some more houses, because I was done with those buyers, and then we went to 3 more houses, and we'll just go through those. Now, the first house, I unfortunately I did it absolutely backwards. I mean, I'm setting up my sheets. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone. I'm not going to show you the address, but I have paper sheets. I always use paper sheets. There's no replacement for paper. Don't at me. I like to use paper. First house we go to. Now, this was a little bit interesting because the way I came to the house made it problematic. I drove through pretty much all the way around St. Louis. It came up through this one street that's a terrible street. Like between that and one other street, like you're not in a good part of South City. I think most of you know that live here what that would be. I'll let you figure it out. But the first letter of the street starts with a B, and the first letter of the other street starts with a V. So if you're in that spot, it's typically terrible. Terrible as in unsafe. So I had to drive through that just to get to this house. That pretty much just stopped it right there. When we got there, the door was unlocked, and I thought that we were 10 minutes early, so I thought someone was showing the house. It turns out it was just the agent trying to stay warm because her buyer hadn't gotten there yet. And so we walked around the back, and then we came in, and we were like, hey, we're just cold. We want to come in. Oh, okay. So we walked through. It's a no. It's a no. Why is it a no? There was nothing that was, nothing was evoked. There was no feeling of this is the house for us. Second house we go to, new flooring, beautiful home. And they had a brand new or reasonably new garage that was just beautiful. In the alley in the back, you could enter to the garage through 3 different ways, which is also wonderful. Great house. Great house. No complaints. And the buyer said, hey, we'd like to make an offer on this house. I said, okay. Okay. Now, I don't dissuade people from buying houses. If they decide they want to buy a house after the things I've said, then that's totally good. That means they have strong conviction. So I said, okay, well, we still have another house to look at. Let's go look at that. Now, at this point, I just want to look at the other house because it's on the list. You know, I mean, we set it up. Let's go. Didn't have any high hopes for that one. But we go to the house, the third one, and it's like we walk through, and there are things about this house that are better than the second house. And it's the same price. So they're like, hey, we want to buy this house. I said, okay. All right. So we go, and I look immediately I go to the car, and I check the listing, and it's like offers are due by a certain time. I'm like, oh, my God. We are like an hour away from that. I need to get going. So I run to the house, talk to the agent. It's like, you know, I need a little bit of time here to write this offer. No problem. So we do all that. And, yeah, put in an offer last night for a house. We'll know tonight by 6. I'm pretty happy about that. Where are we going to get the house? I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about it. They could be listening. They could be watching. They're not. I know that because who's watching a live stream of real estate at 9:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning out of St. Louis, Missouri? Not many. Not many. All right, so that's the showing report. We want to do Google search, Google Trends. I'm going to run out of time today. I can already tell. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna just take the format. And we're just gonna run with it. If it takes me a little longer to get through things, it takes me a little longer. I've got to get one thing done before noon. So here we go. And I'm showing some houses today. So I don't know for sure what that's gonna entail, but we'll get there. Okay. Now let me see. This is our Google search for the day, and I just wanted to share this with you because I think it's funny. It says, Will Wade is fired as LSU men's basketball coach after accusations of 5 Level 1 NCAA violations. Now, this is a fellow that should have been fired, I think, 2 years ago. But the NCAA is a joke, and it's fascinating. So let's go over it. It says, LSU has fired embattled men's basketball coach Will Wade after receiving a notice of allegations that details significant misconduct, the school announced Saturday. Now, let me just say this. Quanzo Martin is I think, a nice fellow. He was fired by Mizzou because his team was terrible. I am a Mizzou fan. Even now, I pretend that I'm not. Like, I don't watch the games like I used to. But I pay attention to the box scores, and I pay attention to the schedule. And if they were to have gotten, even be relatively decent this year, I would have watched. He came in with such promise, Quanzo did. He had inherited a team that wasn't very good. I was a fan of that coach too. I oddly enough, the last Mizzou coach that really got on my nerves was Barry Odom. be honest. Of all the coaches, you know, in basketball and football, I thought Gary Pinkel was great. I know I knew he was having problems, but he turned that school around. And then when they moved to the SEC, he said like, "Hey, you got to bring it." And so they ended up hiring Odom. It's like that's not really bringing it. And then they were going to do some more work of that nature again. And then this Drinkwitz was hired, and jury's still out on him. I mean, he's had an uphill battle, in my opinion, with the disease or the plague, and then I feel like he made some moves that made sense, and they just didn't work out. But we'll see. Now on the basketball side, I saw Norm Macdonald. I saw Norm Stewart coach. And so when I think of Mizzou, I think of Norm Stewart. Now, Norm Stewart hasn't been the coach, I don't believe, in this in the 2000s. I don't think he made it to the 2000s. We had Quinn Snyder, who you may think of as a successful, wonderful coach of the Utah Jazz, I believe. I don't know if he's still a coach of them or not, but he was kind of a mess at Mizzou. And I mean that like nicely. So I wasn't a big Quinn Snyder fan at all. Then we had, I want to say Mike Anderson was the coach next. I want to say that if I forgot someone, I apologize. Mike Anderson, like he had a plan, and he didn't need good players. Like he didn't need really, really good players to be. Now he had good players. Damari Carroll was here, and he was very good. But he did good, and we were tough. Like in the tournament, I would have been concerned. Now he had this lifelong fascination with coaching at Arkansas, and Arkansas had different expectations for their coach than Mizzou did at that point. Arkansas thought that they wanted to be a Final Four team every year, and they were trying to relive the past under the guy who I forgot his name, but I just don't remember. But you know who he is if you were around during that time. They had Corliss Williams, and they had a guy that would shoot 3-pointers like ridiculous. But I don't remember. I mean, this was 1994, 1995-ish. Scotty Thames? I don't know. Anyway, I almost had the coach's name. It slipped off my head. But anyway, so he ditched us. So you ditched us, and that hurt. And then he said he wasn't going to ditch us, and he ditched us. So it was kind of like, okay, bye. So then we got, I don't know what happened, but we had a coach that was from Mizzou that was doing really, really good in like Division III. And I forgot his name now too. Kim Anderson. There you go. Nolan Richardson. Look at that. That was the coach of Arkansas. So anyway, Kim Anderson, I wanted him to do well. And I don't know what the strategy was. Here was the problem. In basketball, it seems like recruiting is important. And I feel like Kim Anderson had a system that could overcome the recruiting, just like Anderson. I feel like the problem is with Anderson's approach, Kim Anderson, was that you take a freshman, in his system, you take a freshman, and they're already not a good recruit. But over time, you build them over the 4 years that you have them. By the end of the day, you have this wonderful, like say a point guard that's been in the system for 4 years, knows the right play to execute every time, and that will get you wins. The problem is he didn't have 4 years, and the problem is the people that he thought were going to be better didn't get better. Didn't get better. I mean, when he recruited them, they were a certain level, and they stayed that level. But he got fired, and I understand they were terrible. Okay. Then we had Quanzo Martin. Now, Quanzo Martin had been successful everywhere. It seems like a couple times he would just leave places because it wasn't looking very positive. The writing was kind of on the wall. Oh, what about Frank Heath? I don't remember where Frank Heath was in the mix. No offense. It was not memorable. maybe he was after Anderson, Mike. I don't know. It wasn't. He just left. He was writing on the wall too. He was like, "I'm leaving this place." So he went to Tulsa. So anyway, Kwanzaa comes in and the program's a wreck. Immediately he gets Jonte Porter and his brother Mike, and they are like the number 1 and number 13 players in the country, ranked in high school. Michael Porter, honestly, in college would have been the just most awesome player, but he was always hurt. No offense to that dude. He was hurt. So then Jonte Porter was hurt. He tore up his knee. So, I mean, bad luck for Mizzou, basically. Anyway, so when we got those players, there were some other players that came with them because they're like, we want to play with the best player, and it just didn't work. And then after that, we refused to. Well, we had a point guard. Well, I believe ended up over at LSU. I believe Xavier Pinson was playing for LSU this year. I don't know how that happened, but we didn't have a point guard. And you need someone that's on the floor that they have these things. They have combo guards. We had lots of those, but we didn't have a true point guard, and that hurt. That hurt. And then the game has changed dramatically. I mean, Quanzo Martin was being paid maybe in the top echelon of SEC basketball coaches. And now I think he'd probably be at the end. He'd be at the bottom. I mean, Arkansas brought in like Musselman. Will Wade wasn't cheap when they hired him. Barnes over I think it's Rick Barnes over at Tennessee. He's got a pretty good payday. Alabama has that Nate Oates. I mean, they got some premier coaches. And you got Calipari at Kentucky. I mean, they got some premier coaches. Florida keeps hiring people. I don't know where they're at right now. They got such good coaches that the guy from Indiana, Crean, who was coach somewhere else, just got fired this week. But, I mean, like, it was ridiculous. And the transfer rule changed. So now all of a sudden we've got transfers coming and going. No, like the Kim Anderson idea of you're going to sit there and build a team through players that aren't very good and they're going to be good as a team. That does not work in college basketball right now. And if you don't let someone play their first year, they're out. They may leave by the semester. They're not messing around. So, yeah, questionable. So, anyway, this Will Wade character, he is a cheater, and there's no question. And this is my thing. He cheated once, and his assistants got caught. They let him stay because he was winning basketball games. He just got caught again, and now they fire him. Shame on them. Let's go through the rest of this. Okay, I just gave you I'm sorry about that, but I needed to get it out. Now, understand, I loved college basketball. I loved all these sports, and I knew a lot about them then. But with the politics, with the change in the sport, that doesn't interest me anymore. The only reason why I'm relaying this story is because I find it in terms of employment, and I'm trying to develop that for my other channel. So I wanted to go through it in the sense that I don't think this guy would be hired anywhere in corporate America, but maybe he would, and I'm just wrong. And this guy's going to get hired again. He's going to come out. He's going to go somewhere as an assistant coach, and he's going to apologize for what he did, or he's going to not apologize. It may be that way, and someday he'll get another job, and he'll do well, and he might cheat his way to the top again, but it doesn't matter because they're looking for winning basketball, just like they're looking for winning football. Like Rick Pitino, I don't have a problem with Rick Pitino, but that guy got fired for what was cause, and now he's coaching. He went to Greece to coach basketball. And now I suspect, I haven't looked at Iona, but I bet they're doing better than Mizzou did this year. Maybe not. Who knows? I don't want to look it up. Let me just, if I'm wrong, you can make fun of me in the chat. Let me look in the chat. Okay, so far I don't have anything to worry about because no one's in the chat. Okay? All right, so it says, The firing means that Wade, who is in his fifth season at LSU, will not coach the upset. Well, obviously, the Tigers are projected as the number 6 seed in the tournament, and assistant Kevin Nickelberry will serve as the interim coach. This will mark the second time that Wade has been unable to coach a Tigers team. He led the NCAA tournament. In 2019, he won the SEC regular season championship, but he was suspended for the conference and NCAA tournaments after reports revealed that a federal wiretap captured him discussing a strong-ass offer for a recruit. He should have been fired in 2019. That's what makes this story so sick. But here's why he wasn't fired. Wade was 108-54 at LSU. That's 100% why. He previously coached VCU to a pair of NCAA tournament appearances and had a strong 2-year stint at Chattanooga before that. Yeah, he was successful. He's a successful coach. You take a good coach and you let him cheat, they're going to be a really, really successful coach. It says nearly the entirety of Wade's tenure at LSU operated under the pall of federal basketball investigation. Oh, I forgot. Bruce Pearl at Auburn. He got thrown out of Tennessee for some things, and he's back. That's what I'm saying. This is kind of theater. Like, everyone should feel shame about Will Wade. That dude probably has at least $10 million in his back pocket right now. Okay, he's going to be fine. He's going to be able to afford for the rest of his life, or afford food for the rest of his life. His kids are going to be able to go to Ivy League schools, and he's going to be fine. You do not need to worry about Will Wade. Like, he took the money and he's fine. Okay, you need to worry about that poor homeless person on the street who has nothing, that it's cold out and could die. You need to worry about the guy that's just going to work and trying to support his family. Don't worry about Will Wade. He's going to be fine. And his family's going to be fine for generations in the United States. It says, according to an NCAA notice of allegations that was obtained by ESPN on Saturday, there are 8 level 1 violation allegations in LSU's notice. 7 are alleged to be tied to the men's basketball program. Okay, so let's just leave that. Let's just go with the level 1s. Wade is accused of 5 level. Now, again, guilty and innocent until proven guilty. But, he's already had problems with this. Wade is accused of 5 level 1 violations and 1 level 2 violation. Associate men's basketball coach Bill Armstrong is accused of 1 level 1 violation and 1 level 2 violation. In a statement, LSU said it's terminated Armstrong's contract as well. Okay, look. The NCAA is a mess. I mean, who they can possibly be, how they can possibly discipline others for things that they do is laughable. I feel like for LSU, I've always believed that the bigger schools, the revenue schools in the NCAA, were able to get away with murder, essentially, versus other teams. And one of the big jokes that Jeff Gordon, a writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, used to say is somebody would commit, like North Carolina, the cheating scandal, they'll go ahead and they'll punish Mizzou for North Carolina's cheating scandal. It's always like that. It's always like that. It's like, oh, this school did this, but it's okay because they're a big school. And this school over here is a big school, but they're not really known for their basketball, so we'll just smack them instead. It's really bad. It says, we can no longer subject our university department of athletics and most importantly our student athletes to this taxing and already lengthy process without taking action. Well, you could. Our responsibility is to protect and promote the integrity and well-being of our entire institution, and our student athletes will always be paramount. Well, it wasn't. It isn't. So don't say it's always. Because honestly, the guy was caught. In 2019, you still let him stay there. For your documents, in August of 2020, the NCAA's enforcement staff received information that Wade arranged for, offered, and or provided impermissible payments, including cash payments, to at least 11 men's basketball prospective student athletes, their family members, individuals associated with the prospects, and or non-scholastic coaches in exchange for the prospects' enrollment at LSU. This is common. This is common. There'll be an aunt or an uncle that seems to get all the money. It's never tied directly to the player. And that's just the way it is. And I don't like it. But these kids are not, by any stretch of the imagination, playing basketball solely for the reason that they love basketball. The majority of them are playing because they want to get paid. They want to get paid anytime they can, for any reason. Paid in college, paid in the pros. Paid, I want to get paid. My job to get paid. The allegations were included in the NCAA enforcement staff's request that its infraction case involving LSU men's basketball program be adjudicated through the independent accountability resolution process, which was created to handle complex cases. I don't need to deal with that. So it says, as part of the reinstatement in 2019, he agreed to an amended contract that included stipulation following the university to fire him with cause if he was found to have committed level 1 and level 2 violations. Nice job with changing that, but let's be honest, he should have been fired then. Under the terms of his amended contract, he agreed to forfeit $250,000 performance bonus for the 2018-2019 season. He also agreed not to sue the university if he was fired with cause. You have to understand, $250,000 for the average working man or woman is more than 4 years' worth of salary. And that's this guy's bonus. LSU is not expected to pay Wade any of the money remaining on his contract because of those amendments. He'll argue that, I'm sure. It says, Tate and Woodward noted that Wade's dismissal was not an acknowledgement of agreement with any of the allegations, and the school will undergo an exhaustive and objective examination of the relevant facts and applicable NCAA regulations. What this means is an attorney tied to LSU will make millions on legal fees to come up with something. Among the five, that's what I want to. That's what I'm trying to, go over this. It says, among the level 1 allegations, the NCAA accused Wade of providing impermissible cash benefits to the former fiancée of a student athlete in order to buy her silence regarding prior and current impermissible inducements to student athletes or prospective student athletes. The allegations had not been previously reported. Investigators found text message between Wade and the woman in July and August of 2017, in which the woman told Wade that people had offered her money to talk about LSU's payment to players. It says, please contact me by the end of the day or I will have to take them up on their offer, the woman wrote. This is a slimy, disgusting human being. Don't get confused, who is trying to blackmail the coach of LSU. Okay. So like 2 wrongs don't make a right here. It says, call me. And then on July 27th, 2017, woman sent another text message to Wade, which said, I need 5 more to put a down payment on a car, put it in the same account. So this woman's just asking for money left and right. Okay. I'm sure she's an outstanding human being. I'm sure she's got a great job somewhere and she's making bank right now. On August 2017, after the woman texted Wade and asked if he had received her message about the additional payment, he responded, I'm sorry you're having money issues. He said we were done after the last transfer I sent, so in my mind, we are done. So then that gives her every reason to go to the NCAA, which she probably did because she's an evil woman. And I don't say like evil woman. It could be an evil man as well. They're evil people. The NCAA also accused Wade of making payments in April 2018 to an individual who had influence in a prospect's decision on where he would play in college. In exchange for the individual's influence, Wade directed that payments he made to the individual from a bank account in the name of Wade's spouse, that Wade and his spouse treated as a joint account. Yeah, and that's the other thing is like, these people know how to cheat. Wade is also accused of violating the NCAA's principles of ethical conduct and failing to cooperate in the investigation. The NCAA's principles of ethical conduct are baloney. They are not an ethical organization, so therefore their ethics mean nothing to me. As well as a number of other allegations, the complex case unit was ultimately unable to substantiate fully when he refused to produce all records of the CCU. Well, that's a great plan. Okay, you want my documents? No. So then we got the assistant coach. I don't really want to throw the assistant coach on the bus because I believe the coach ultimately determines what goes on. But here we go. It's kind of fun. Specifically, Armstrong offered to provide the recruit and his family and members of their association $300,000 cash, paid in installments of $50,000. What I want to know is on the $300,000 cash, I want a full accounting of that, and I also want the prospects to be paying income tax on that. So that ought to be good because this is avoiding the IRS. So the IRS should be up in here pronto. Or do we just go after normal working class people and not See, that's my issue here. The selective enforcement all around is disgusting. It says Armstrong also offered to do various favors for the prospect's friends and relatives as a further inducement to secure the prospect's commitment to LSU, including a job within the institution's men's basketball program, an apartment, and a car for the prospect's cousin, a promise of a scholarship for a friend of the prospect, and assistance securing visas for other basketball players to the United States. So this clearly means that this person was one of the foreign players. Just saying. Wade is accused of telling aspiring business manager Christian Dawkins in a 2017 wiretap conversation he was frustrated about future LSU player Javonte Smart's recruitment because he went to Smart's handler with a strong-ass offer about a month ago. Smart eventually signed with LSU and played 3 seasons before turning pro in 2021. Dawkins was the subject of an NCAA investigation, or FBI investigation into bribes and other corruption in college basketball, convicted of 2 federal criminal cases and is serving time at the federal prison in Alabama. My opinion is this poor man does not belong to be in prison. Will Wade is the one that was the boss of Dawkins. I don't care about the football program. I don't care about anything that nature. But I thought it was funny. So you see this story, and then the next one is Tulsa men's basketball. Frank Haith resigns. We will cherish the memories we've made. So he golden parachuted from Mizzou to Tulsa, and now that didn't work out. All right. So that's that. I got through that story. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you don't. Put a comment in the chat or the comment section whenever you are watching this. And by the way, it's kind of like a time machine. So Will Wade will be coaching somewhere else. Like when he is, let's talk about it. Let's say, hey, look at how great he's doing somewhere. Here's a fascinating house. We're going to look at homes in Reno, Nevada for right now. It says Tahoe City's got one, Remax Gold has another one, and Reno has the other one. 15 million, 10 million, and 9 million. But let's take a look at the $15 million home. One of the things that has already jumped out to me, 1,500 days on the market. Wow. Built in 1907. Property details. Stunning mansion overlooking the Truckee River, fully restored with a quality reminiscent of old world craftsmanship. Features include 8 bedroom suites, 9 full and 5 half baths, 9 fireplaces, grand ballroom, parlor, library, wine cellar, tasting room, large game room, new kitchen with butler's pantry adjoining formal dining room that seats 80 plus guests, and 3 large terraces. Walk to Reno's downtown lifestyle from the crown jewel of the world's biggest little city, new home of Tesla Gigafactory and other majors. Property history. The property's been listed since 2014. I mean, for the most part. Let's take a look. 21 pictures. It's a nice house. That's nice. That's nice. I mean, you got to ask yourself, after maybe 1,000 days on the market, maybe this isn't the right price. Like, is it? Like, what agent is telling them this is the right price for this house? And who's holding this house? There's that outdoor. That's nice. I mean, it's a beautiful home. That's obviously got to see it to believe it. Somebody needs to talk, somebody needs to have a serious discussion with the seller and just kind of go with it. Okay. 4 pictures, $10.7 million, 11 days on the market, built in 1993, 10 cars. Too much for me to read. And property history just listed. So just listed in March. Good for them. 4 pictures is not enough for me to know what I'm getting into. That looks cool. But why did you pick these 3 pictures? Or why did you pick these 4 pictures? I don't know. It's stupid. And I'm not going to keep on it. We got things to do. Here we go. This says brokered by Reno. Okay. I don't even know what that means. 40 pictures, $9.9 million, 3-car garage, 127 days on the market, and built in 1952. Property details, there's quite a few. I'm not interested in reading that. Property history, sold in 2018. So I'm good with that. I'm good with that. And listed again in November of this year. So, okay. I mean, on a $9 million house, $10 million house in Reno. Okay. Beautiful pool. And I like the way this looks. I like the white and the black, the contrast. I think that's beautiful. This here picture is fascinating to me because as someone who doesn't know anything about the desert, it looks like this tree is like, it's like fall. Do they have fall in Reno, Nevada? I don't know. Look at this though. I mean, it's nice. Ooh, that's a little bit sterile looking to me, but whatever. I love these windows that, open all the way, and man, kind of an odd thing here. Just saying. Beautiful kitchen. What is this? I think that's the like a pantry almost. Again, beautiful tile work. If it's tile, it's hard to tell. This is the bathroom. I mean, that's a beautiful bathroom. Look at that little nook there, like a reading nook. This has some of the more beautiful materials that I've seen in a home, especially since it's built in 1952. I mean, it's really a nice house. So Reno, yes, I would move there. Now let me check the chat just to make sure no one's causing problems. You know what I'm going to do? Like, ever since I put it to subscriber only, but that's just in the chat. You're welcome to watch. So I'm staying with it. I don't have anybody watching, but I thought for a minute there, I thought it was because of that, but it's not. So let's go to this is going to be a CoreLogic Case-Shiller Index reports an 18% annual home price gain for 2021. Now, I'm not going to go the full report because it is very, very granular and not interesting. But I just wanted to share just real quick. S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index, covering all 9 U.S. Census divisions, reported an 18.8% annual gain in December, remaining the same from previous month. The 10-city composite annual increase came in at 17%, up 16.9% in the previous month. The 20-city composite posted an 18.6% gain year over year, up from 18.3%. So what does this mean? It means that in the indexes that they are, the tracking indexes that they use, okay, notice St. Louis is not on there. It's kind of sad. All of the indexes indicate that prices are up, and that it has been about 18 point. Now, it's not your home that's up 18.8%. No one knows what your home price increase would be for 1 year. It's impossible to know unless you bought your house last year and you sold it on the same exact month this year. It's an average, but can you get away with averages being strong? Yes. I mean, if it was like a 0.1% annual increase, that would be like nothing, right? It'd be 0.1. So this is just showing that it's the fact that it's a hot seller's market is being reflected in the indices, as they should be. My own opinion is that the indices will track slower than the real world, but I have no proof of that. It's my opinion. That's all I had on that article. It wasn't that exciting. Then this article here, do you really need that 20% down payment on a house? Well, do you? Now, let me just say, I don't even need to read the article to tell you that most of my buyers come in with like a 97% or 95%, and sometimes we can do 100% financing. Now, should you? I don't know. Here's the thing. I take the opinion that I concentrate on helping buyers buy houses and sellers sell houses. My business is not mortgages. That's someone else's business. And then it's their job to work with buyers to determine what the best financial plan is for those buyers. Now, should they include their financial planners? If they'd like to. But it's not required. That's it. So let's say experts say 20% down you heard about, and perhaps your parents, is a myth in 2022. Here are your best ways around it and how to plan. Well, I don't know about going around it, but it says if you're thinking about buying a house, there's a good chance that you're saving up 20% down for a down payment, or perhaps you've given up on the dream of home ownership because you don't think you'll ever be able to amass that much to pay up front for a house. But do you really need a 20% down payment, or is this a myth? Well, it turns out there's more fiction in the requirement to the fact. Yes, there are many people who's still under the impression, maybe from their parents, that 20% down. Now, I do like that, 20% down. Traditional 20% down is designed in large part to protect the lender and the entire financial system. Having the 20% down payment invested in a property theoretically means that there's a 20% equity in the property from the day the mortgage begins. In a worst case scenario, he says this equity can be recouped by the lender if a mortgage becomes insolvent and faces liens or foreclosure. A survey, did you think about it that way? Did you ever think about that in the terms of for the banks and not for you? Ask yourself why that is. It says, a survey by the National Association of Realtors believes that only 35% of consumers believe they need a down payment of 16 to 20%. An additional 10% of consumers believe they'll need to put down more than 20%. So those people are just wrong. According to this fellow, the average down payment is actually between 8% and 10%. But he says borrowers can put in as little as 3% down on a home. That's not even true. That's not even true. USDA, you can go 100%. FHA, you can go as little as you can go 100%. There are many mortgage down payment options under 20%, and borrowers can choose how much they are comfortable putting down. Alternative to 20% down is private mortgage insurance. Lenders are concerned that a borrower does not have enough skin in the game when making a lesser down payment, so they will incorporate mortgage insurance, which protects the lender in case of default. PMI is an insurance policy the lender takes out to offset the risk that you may not pay the mortgage. The insurance helps cover the potential default on the loan. There are several different ways to structure the payment of the PMI. For example, it can be paid monthly up front or a single payment, or there can be a split version of the two. You could also potentially take out two loans to cover the total loan needed, such as the one for 80%, and then a second for the remainder. Calls it a piggyback, and it avoids the PMI requirement. Why some buyers may not want to put 20% down. Well, really, would you? I wouldn't. Buyers may want to hold on to the additional funds in case they need to make repairs or renovations on the property, but they also might just want to have enough in case an emergency comes up. Totally right. It can be possible that for a myriad of reasons, someone may not want to liquidate a stock or retirement position, so they're certainly capable of making the 20% down payment. It's currently just not in their best interest to do so. Phillips agrees that there may be several reasons why buyers may want to keep money in the bank or put down at least the amount as possible, but how would this impact the monthly mortgage? Would the amount still be reasonable enough so that it would pose a hardship? Well, with rates as low as they are, a great way to have both an affordable payment and peace of mind is by adding $20 to $40 a month to the payment while keeping $5,000 to $10,000 in the bank for emergencies. Depends on the house. It really does. See, and then it gets to the end of the article here. Unfortunately, there are several programs for buyers to choose from. FHA loans are very popular, often requiring only 3.5% down, while USDA and HUD mortgages may not require any money down at all. And those aren't your only options. VA loans are also available to those who have served our country in one of the military branches. They're conventional loan options that don't require 20% down. So, yeah. Yeah, if you're sitting on the sidelines anytime, right now, as far as I know, these programs have been around for quite some time. Don't, go to a mortgage lender, ask to get a pre-approval, and find out what works out best for you. Don't not do something because you don't know. Okay, try to always take the unknowns in the real estate game and make them into knowns. How do you know you can't afford a house? Have you looked? I'm not trying to pressure you into buying a home. I'm just saying you have to think about it that way. With that, I'm going to go to the base frame. And I'm going to say thank you for watching. You're not watching right now, but you'll watch later. I know that. Have a great afternoon. I'm going to do the real estate game today. I'm going to try to update some stuff on the websites. That's my whole day. Oh, gosh. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. You can email me. I got an address on the bottom. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And I will talk to you later.